where I come from, the truth is irony. Just like animal farm, justice mean inequity. So who go say the truth? Who go say the truth? Christian can say silence, Islamic leaders silence, kings and queens silence, traditional leaders silence. So who go say the truth? We are the workers of the call. Now by area, why no better? We are the workers of the call. One guy's out here, why no better? Who go say the truth? Who go say the truth? Oh, he need it now, see what's I see so. Now your friend on a nine come at them. Only papi obeka nice and beer. So I want one bet you two. Everybody was afraid. And when Tina to my cottage again nine. Once my boy dumping one and I cheat. But who go tell the truth? Nanai or say me. Nanso bien person beka wasam because everybody is afraid. Anya safwe muayini. Who draw for Nina Dalima? And see who go say the truth? Obiaja konson so to grow your mansa to me be a cacobrafo. If I need a if when you know yet. Na so kutrata down so be dia back or why no keke. I feel for the man more piafo efwe. No cross on my mo. Hanya safwe muayini. Aku draw for you na dalima. And who go say the truth? Abaya di bote chino. Yedi bi bebo nyande bi. Kachisa would your mouth pipinuma. Would your mind never shine my frafonsa? But who go tell the truth? TUC, silence. Even journalists, silence. So then who go say the truth? Right is right. Wrong is wrong, no matter how you justify. You say you wanna get rid of corruption. Someone want to help you, now the person become your target. Jobless, no they mean senseless. Poverty, no they mean useless. One day, them go resist.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to you, our cherished viewers, depending on wherever you are watching us from all over the globe, whether you are watching from the Americas, you're watching from Africa or from Europe. This is another exciting show of MyView show on Today Ghana News TV. And as usual, every Monday evening, we serve you the best dinner in town by giving you the best items as they happen, or the best news items as they happen in Ghana and across the globe. I am your host for today, Albert Alan Dachie. And as usual, we are not going to disappoint. We have another exciting topic for your viewership and for your listening. So if you are watching us on YouTube, this is my view show, my view show on Today Ghana News. If you're also watching us live on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and all your social media platforms, this is the same show, my view show on Today Ghana News. We are also live on HIN FM 93.7 in Akinhimai in the Eastern region in Ghana. And we are also live on Sakina information center in Tatali in northern Ghana as well. And as usual, today we have another very, very interesting topic. Over the past few weeks, our attention have been focused on events as they happen in the diaspora in relations to Ghana. But this week, we go right back home, right back to base, where our roots are. And Ghana as it is, the gift that keeps giving never stops. And once again, there is an exciting topic up for discussion. And we have an equally exciting panelist who is equal to the task, who is on top of the issues, and who is going to help us dissect the issue as it is today. Over the past few weeks, we have been having some rumblings in Ghana. But before we go to the topic, I would like to share some good news with you. Your favorite TV, Today Ghana News, have been nominated. One of our presenters, Sylvia Happy Anna, the host of entertainment and lifestyle on Today Ghana News TV, has been nominated in the category of Entertainment Show of the Year and TV Host of the Year in Ghana Entertainment Awards 2023. We are calling on our viewers in Ghana to vote or to text to the short code hash 447 hash 714 star 447 star 714 hash. The nominee code is RR187. Vote for Sylvia Happy Anna to win Entertainment Show Host of the Year on Today Ghana News TV show. This is the good news that we want to share with you, and we have more goodies to share with you as the program continues. But for today, as I said earlier, our beloved country, Ghana, never stops giving. Over the past few weeks, the news have been lit, or the past few days, the news have been lit with stories of Ghanaian politicians and money issues. And today we wanted to take a look at the case of Honorable Cecilia Dapa and the story surrounding the theft of some money and some property in her house, to see the case of unexplained wealth, to see what the issues are and the issues surrounding it. And as I said at the beginning of the show, we have a very exciting guest who is very well abreast with the issues at hand and who is going to help us navigate this exciting topic for today. So our host for today is coming all the way from Ghana, and he is in the person of Sharif Dean Shash. He is a communication team member of the NDC in the region of Ghana, and he's joining us today to help us with the topic at hand. Welcome to the show, Sharif Dean.
Thank you very much, Mr. Albert. Yes. Hope you are doing good.
Well, I'm doing good. The question is not how I am doing. The question is how you are doing. But before we get to that, hold your horses.
Okay.
From your credentials, I am told that you are a member of the NDC, the communication team of the NDC, and I'm also told, reliably informed, that over the past few days, your party has come into some grief, and that you have lost a founding member of your party in the person of Madam Sherry, Dr. Sherry Ayiti. As I said, one of the founding members of your party, somebody who has been in politics since the beginning of the NDC and has held several ministerial positions. I think she occupied the Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology. She also occupied the Ministry of Health as the minister, and even the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture. And before her death, I'm also told that she was also a vice chair of your party. Do you have do you have something to say about this? Do you have some kind of tribute to pay to your fallen hero, You may unmute yourself and then let's see.
Certainly. It is with grave pain and anguish that I have to say some of these things I am about to say. Madame Sheraite has been in the forefront of our struggle for power. In fact, she has been with the party since the inception of the 31st December movement. And from that moment, she has never relented on her effort in seeing the NDC being in power. An affable person, a mother for all, one with an impeccable academic and both private record. She has been in power before. She has been with us for the past 8 years that we were in office, and she held various positions. You can pay testimony that during her time as Minister for Health and other portfolios that she held before her demise, not even a single scandal could be traced to this fine personality. She was always there for the needy. She has been there for the party in all these turbulent times. I remember vividly when I met her somewhere in 2018 during our National Congress. She was beaming with smiles even before we went in for the elections, knowing very well that the party that she has served all her life will not turn their back against her. It is with grave pain. It's a collective loss anyway. A woman who is not from this part of the region has mentored and has helped a gentleman who is now in parliament. I don't know whether it is very accurate for me to mention his name, but her good works has manifested here in the Upper West region to an extent that the gentleman has been weeping since the news broke that we lost our mother. It is hard to replace her because she has been with the party through the formative ages. She has been through the turbulent waters that we suffered and went through during the era of President Kufuor, where senior members of our party were being harassed and chased all over the place. She did not despair. She never left us. She was there when people of honor decided to relent on their. She was with us. It wasn't shocking that the late former President Mills considered her as a member of cabinet and as a member of minister, a minister to help in steering the affairs of the country. After his demise, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama did not also turn his back against her. She was again given an opportunity to work as a health minister and subsequently to work also as the Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture Development. A portfolio she handled very well, or an office she played a very key role in bringing forth some of the successes that were achieved. So it is a collective gain, yes, not just for the party, but for Ghana as a whole. It is so difficult finding women in politics of late. But if you have a woman like this who has gone through almost all the stages that one has to go through, she was with the party itself, she was with government, and she has contributed a quota significantly towards the growth of Ghana and then the party. We are going to miss her, so we can only say condolences to the bereaved family, that it is a collective loss, just as our presidential candidate and the incoming president of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, said. We will share their grief, we will share their pain. It is a loss that nobody can quantify. We are very sure rest in the bosom of our Creator.
May her gentle soul find rest with her Creator indeed. And my condolences to you and to all the members of your fraternity and then your party. It is our hope that, or I wish that probably your party would draw inspiration from such a person, and that probably would give you inspiration moving to the battle that awaits you. Now, back to the question that we started the show with. I am concerned about your personal well-being. How are you doing? Let's start from there. Then we move. How are you doing?
We are managing. The economy is not too good. Not too good is just an understatement. I'm trying to be very charitable. It's not easy here in Ghana, and I'm sure many of your friends and relatives will be disturbing you on a daily basis because of the economic turmoil that we've been subjected to. It is not our making anyway. It is as a result of the bad leadership that many can testify to. Here in Ghana these days, the prices of goods and services are not stable. They keep escalating. If I tell you right now, in some filling or pump stations, a liter of fuel goes for 12 cedis, 46 pesos. The least you can have here in Ghana is 11 cedis, 30 pesos, just for a liter. Now, you know, petrol or cost of fuel has a direct bearing and effect on the prices of other goods and services. Ghana is an import-driven economy, and at worst, we have some of the regions that import almost close to 100% of everything they consume. Take my region, for example, the sugar, the salt, the soap, and almost everything that we need that are seen as consumables and necessities, we import them from other regions, to be specific, from Greater Accra and that of Ashanti region. And even some of the foods that we consume, we import some of them. And worst of it is that some of the ingredients that are a must for us to have, we import some outside of this region and outside of the country. Take, for example, tomatoes. So those who go to buy the tomatoes from Burkina Faso or some other necessities from other regions consume fuel. And when they consume fuel, they come and they indirectly impose the cost of doing business onto the final consumer. Here is a situation where our incomes are static. No increase has been made of our salaries or wages or whatsoever that is concerned. But the prices of general goods and services keep skyrocketing. That kids of late cannot consume, or if you like, if you want to use 5 Ghana cedis for a kid of 3 years to be able to buy porridge for such a person, it's worrisome.
I think probably we are having some connection issues with our guest. But before we lost our guest briefly, and I'm sure he's going to rejoin us in a very short while. But before we lost him, I think the question that was posed to him was how he is doing, and how his personal economy is, and he's taking us on this journey on how times are tough economically in Ghana, and especially for people like him and the region that he comes from, the region that he resides in, which he describes as an import-dependent area where almost all goods are imported. And I think the idea is that because this place is very, very dependent on import, prices or hikes in prices from all other places affect wherever they are. And one can imagine that coupled with, as he mentioned, the prices of fuel. And we know that fuel is the one that generates economic activities everywhere. And every other economic activity in any part of a place is dependent on fuel, especially in a place like Ghana. So I think that is the point that our guest was making before we lost briefly. But before you continue, you seem to paint quite a gloomy economic picture of where you are, and you know. But of course, I'm sure that you, like you said, you are managing, and I'm sure that some other people are managing. But it appears not everybody is managing. When we read the news in the media, and on things that are coming out from this country, it looks to me as though you people are there to manage, but a group of people are not managing at all. You know what I'm talking about?
Sure.
We woke up sometime last week. It came as though it was a very, it was a sketchy newspaper reportage from court and everything. And then we started following the trail. And the things that we are hearing contradicts the picture that you are painting. Because in your country, as we talk, somebody has been able to lose money running into millions of dollars. And when I say lose, it's not as though this was stolen from a bank account. stolen from the person's home. So, I mean, how are you able to reconcile this? Because you are trying to convince our listeners and our viewers that times are hard. When actually, this is the situation. These are the stories we are reading about your country. That people have millions of dollars stashed in their home. So how do you reconcile these two things that you are talking about?
My brother, for such actions, we understand that we have something you call the causality factor. It is not for nothing that you are going through this economic quagmire. I think I told you in my initial comments that all boils down to leadership. The buck stops at leadership. It is not our making that we are subjected to this economic quagmire. It is just unbearable. And it is scary that at a time that the ordinary Ghanaian is gnashing, parents are struggling to make ends meet. For the first time in the history of this country, so many workers have taken their kids from private schools and back to the government school. And it is not because the government schools are making it better, or it is not because there is quality in government schools. Of course, we all understand that it is because of the numbers that most people take their kids to private schools. So when you have people in the public sector who know the cost of ignorance and who also know the benefits attached to literacy, decide to now take their kids back to the public school, it speaks volumes. This is the first time you have so many schools being indebted. But the very people who have subjected us to these things are not gnashing. They are not going through the same pain because we have classes where we all belong to. This particular woman in question happens to be part of government. In fact, she is part of cabinet. Don't forget that in my country, I actually wanted to bring a receipt to show to you, my brother Albert, that when you go into a supermarket like any mall at all and buy and you are given a receipt, there is a component of it, a tax component of it, that goes for sanitation. Just a couple of days ago, I was in the Melcom in Wa to do some purchases. Of course, it wasn't huge. It was less than 120 Ghana cedis for my school. And this had to do with some ceramic tiles. A tax component of close to 2 cedis was meant to go for the baller tax. I paid COVID-19 tax, and I was subjected to over 5 Ghana cedis of VAT tax or VAT. These monies, when they accumulate, are huge in government coffers, coupled with the borrowing and excessive and unnecessary borrowing that this government is engaging. So they have enough to do some of these things. Remember also that the money that we are talking about, the 1 million Ghana cedis that we are talking about, I'll quantify it later on in my analysis, why we should not be talking about it being $1 million. Remember that it was stolen about a year ago, around July of 2022, that these monies were stolen. And these monies were not even detected, or the stolen booties were not detected until a couple of months that the husband of the accused person, or the one in the middle of this, well, let me still say Honorable Mrs. Kandapa, the husband came and met one of the house girls or the house workers in a suspicious manner. That pricked him to do further investigations. Of course, that was the time that for certain reasons and for obvious reasons, the dollar was in shortage. Exporters were finding it difficult to purchase the dollar. And you know what that means? The more the dollar is in shortage, the more or the higher the price of the dollar. So as at that time, these people, or the woman in question, an appointee of the Akufo-Addo regime, was having more than $1 million in her house. This raises so many questions. But let's talk about the quantum of the money in the first place. $1 million in the house of the minister for, we just call her in short, the Bole minister for sanitation and a portfolio I cannot even mention. If she had $1 million, now let's try to ask the over 126 appointees of President Akufo-Addo, if they were to have same, meaning they would have not less than $126 million in their houses, not in their bank accounts. So assuming they all have $1 million in their houses, it means that the dollar will keep rising and the cost of goods and services will keep escalating. That is why I told you initially that it is not our making, but the buck stops at leadership. That is just $1 million.
Mr. Sheriff, just let me try to stop you right there, because let's take this slowly, because the person you are talking about is not a person of straw. This is a minister of state, and she earns income. We are told that her husband is also an astute architect. So obviously these people, they are well-to-do. They've got money, so they can have $1 million. So why are you concerned about $1 million? After all, it's just $1 million.
It is not just. In the past regime, a woman of substance who is equally not a woman of straw, Miss Hannah, I've forgotten her full name.
I think you are referring to Victoria Hammer.
Victoria Hammer, good. She made an utterance that she wanted to make $1 million. Afterwards, she was going to quit politics. She was made to quit, or she was booted out of government just for making that utterance. $1 million, if you want to quantify it, let's bring it into the Ghana cedi now. A dollar goes beyond $12. Sorry, cedis. $1 goes beyond 12 Ghana cedis. Or $1 is 12 Ghana cedis multiplied by 1. That means it is going to be 12 million Ghana cedis. In old currency, that is 120 billion. 120 billion. That was found in the house of somebody. And that is not all. We have over $300,000, 300,000 euros in that house as well. That was equally stolen. So how much was there and how much was stolen? And I told you that was the time that the cost of the dollar was increasing on a minute basis. So imagine she had this. And let's not also create the impression that all businessmen are successful. I'm equally a businessman. I am not successful. I don't have $1 million. Not every businessman is rich.
But that's because your party is not in power.
Oh, no, you don't need your party to be in power before you are a successful or you become a successful businessman. Every businessman sometimes faces challenges, and not every businessman succeeds. Anyway, Ibrahim Mama is a businessman who has succeeded. There are some businessmen in Accra and in Wa who are running helter-skelter not to be arrested by the banks because they are in default. So let's not create the impression that the man who happens to be an architect, and because the woman and her husband happens to be in business, they can make that amount of money. And then again, these people are politically exposed. I am still pursuing a certain program which you are aware of. The fact that they are one, in the law, they don't see a man and a woman as two people. They see them as one. And the fact that the woman is politically exposed means that the man is equally politically exposed. So the actions of the woman has a direct link with the man. So if they had a quantum of money like this, which in the first place is even against the very laws of the land, where you cannot keep foreign exchange in your house like that, or you are not expected to have a certain amount of money with you in your house. This is against the laws of the land. So the issue of money laundering can. But I want to say that corruption is infectious. Corruption is infectious. This woman, we are told, has been a woman of substance until she engaged herself with this president and government, the NPP government, where the corruption is a fight and struggle for all, from the finance ministry to the education ministry, the communication ministry, the health ministry. In fact, there's no ministry under this government that has not come under barrage of attacks and criticisms for their display of arrogance after engaging in clear and obvious corrupt practices. Let me take you through a couple of them. First issue they had, if my memory serves me right, was the issue of the 2.25 billion bond saga, which was popularly known as Ken Bond saga, where a company called Franklin Templeton, of which the then Attorney General and the Finance Minister happens to be board members. They were not stakeholders. In fact, they were shareholders of that company. So over 95% of the bonds were sold to that Franklin Templeton in close circles. The law which surrounds the issuance of bonds in Ghana is that recently, unfortunately, in the case of the Cambon saga, they were just announced 3 days before they were issued, meaning they had violated the laws of the land, the Financial Regulations Act of this land. That did not end. Minister can show us the one who owns the remainder of the 5% of the 2.25 billion bonds. People were all over the place. We spoke at length, but no, Ghanaians didn't listen because they were still on their holiday mood. Ghanaians gave them the chance to prove themselves. It just didn't end there. Don't forget of the Kelly GVG deal, which cost the taxpayer of over $175 million, when the National Communication Authority could have engaged in the same thing. That is not just the only thing. Let's come down to the health ministry. That is the communication ministry. I'm just trying to catalog them one after the other, ministry after ministry. A health minister who was the chairman of the Public Account Committee, and for which reason people have been sent to jail. This same gentleman had the gut and effrontery to engage a private person in Qatar towards the acquisition or the procurement of COVID vaccines. It was later on earth that Ghana government, through the Ministry of Ministry of Health, through the Ministry of Finance, bought one vaccine which was supposed to cost us for $10 at $20. This was an international procurement and an international arrangement. Of course, it didn't pass through parliamentary approval, or at best, it didn't get parliamentary approval. Yet, over $12.5 million were paid to the Qatari sheikh, of which later on they had to reimburse. That, of course, in itself is corruption, and the man is subject to trial.
But just before you continue, just a moment. But surely, I'm not sure the point you are making is that all of these allegations you are making are the things that ended up in the bosom or the bedroom of the honorable minister. However, you do bring up a few things.
Okay.
From the story that was told, apparently, the only reason this alleged theft got to the attention of not even the minister, the husband, who had returned home at the time, was the fact that he heard some noises in the bedroom and went in only to find out that the house help was hiding behind a door somewhere. And it was upon that led to a sequence of events where they discovered that these things or these items and the monies were lost. So what do you think? How much money do you think could have been stored in such a place, such that this amount of money, over $1.6 billion put together, disappeared, and the people who were sleeping and waking up in that room did not have a clue? Is it your contention, or does it seem to you that what the monies we are talking about is just a tip of the iceberg, and that the money probably was so huge that this amount got missing, and the people who were living in that bedroom did not even realize it? Is that something that is that a contention you are making?
Exactly, my brother. Because they were in that room, in that house, and they still had their normal businesses or activities running. My brother, if you have 10 Ghana cedis in your house and somebody goes in to steal it, you automatically would know that you have 10 Ghana cedis of which somebody has stolen or had taken a part of it. But it is when the money is uncountable, it is overwhelming, it is just shocking, it is everywhere and commonplace, that of course somebody could steal that quantum of money or to that extent, and yet you wouldn't have realized that. Look, if those people who stole probably were smart enough, the gentleman and the wife wouldn't have noticed that the booty has been stolen. If 1 million, or if you like, $1 million and 300,000 euros were stolen, and yet you never realized it, how much Just try to imagine how much would have been in the house. Mind you, we are talking about the house or the home, and per the stories that are emanating from the cortexes of the woman, it suggests to them that, or it suggests to me that all the monies were found in the bedroom of the minister. So how spacious is this bedroom? And how is the bedroom arranged or made to be able to contain over $1 million and over 300,000 euros, and as well as millions of Ghana cedis that they could not even count? Let's now ask ourselves, what about the monies that will be found in their accounts? I was building a certain point. Just like the minister, there was this gentleman called A.B. Ajay. Remember the infamous procurement saga that Manasseh Azore unearthed? The gentleman had over $5 million in one Stanbic account, over 3 million euros in a different account, and over 10 million Ghana cedis in a merchant bank account. These were 3 accounts that he had money stocked in. When indeed the government said that they had freezed his account, it turned out to be that the account was freezed in the public domain. But the gentleman A.B. Ajay had access to the bank. In fact, had access to all the banks until he was able to withdraw and safeguard his monies. At the time they were saying that indeed they had kept a freeze on the account, it was left with less than 1 million Ghana cedis in all the accounts. This is because the president we have right now is ready to fight anything or anybody who will fight corruption. I said initially that corruption is infectious. This woman was not like this. She had served under President Kufuor. It is when she started serving, or when she served under President Akufo-Addo, that everybody was scrambling for the booty. It was just like the hyenas that comes to meet carcass. And when we all watch from the National Geographics, we see how when the hyenas come into contact with carcass, how they struggle to eat and even chase themselves away. That is what happened in the Akufo-Addo regime. So A.B. Ajay had his booty. The finance minister is not spared of that. The education minister himself, at a point when the World Bank gave us over 1.3 million Ghana cedis, dollars, for it to be used to organize an in-service training for teachers. Remember that saga? The World Bank said that 1 million of that $1 million got missing, and no single teacher was trained, or no single teacher was organized an in-service training. That is the education ministry, the ministry that will churn out the next line of, the next generation of leaders. That is where that amount of money got missing from. It just did not end there. Just a couple of months ago, we had stories emanating from the corridors of power that a slot for teaching was being sold for 12,000 Ghana cedis. My brother, 12,000 Ghana cedis before one could be employed as a diploma teacher. And if you are a degree teacher, you are paying in the excess of 15,000 Ghana cedis. All these stories have been washed or have been swept under the carpet. So a lady like Mrs. Kandapa could have also fallen prey to the wanton display of arrogance and the clear display of corruption that emanated from the office of the president. We even saw on video the president himself using 2 hands to claim or to receive a gift of $40,000 before he could get somebody to be employed. So if all these things happened under President Akufo-Addo, of which Mrs. Kandapa is aware of, what makes you think that she will not want to grab her booty out of the lot that has been kept? So it is not a case of that 1 million has been stolen. It is a case that over $1 million has been stored in a house. As for what is in a bank account, only God knows.
Well, you talk about the president and alleged videos of him receiving money for whatever purpose. One thing that we also know, which is a fact, is that the minister in question has since resigned, and the president has received has accepted a resignation. And I would like to draw your attention to the last but one sentence of the of the letter of acceptance. The president says that I am confident, like you, that at the end of the day, your integrity whilst in office will be fully established. First of all, Are you aware of anybody of state that's investigating any criminal matter as far as this is concerned? I mean, the fact that money was found in her house, not the fact that it was stolen, that is clear. But are you aware that
Sure.
somebody is accusing Mrs. Cecilia Dapa of anything? Is it something that has come to your
No,
attention?
not really the case. Not
All right.
really the case, but the gospel truth is that
So if nobody is accusing this person of anything, why do you think the president is saying that her integrity will be cleared? Nobody. First of all, there's been no accusation against her. So why is the president saying that she'll be cleared?
the president is a clearing agent that we have. Our president is a clearing agent. And I can give you a litany of issues that has been swept under the carpet or issues that came up, and he happens to be the number one defendant of these people. Have you forgotten the issue of the health minister, where the health minister said he wasn't thinking well when he signed the contract? The president came out boldly, without any iota of shame, and told Ghanaians in the face that the man was tired and that he needed a rest. And that when he rested, he would come back to his senses. He defended a gentleman who made recommendations for people to be prosecuted and kept behind bars. People who were breadwinners of their families, people who were close to retirement of the normal age, 60 years, because of the current health minister. These people were prosecuted and sent behind bars.
And yet somebody who hasn't been accused, somebody who has only come to the attention of the law agencies is being cleared of any wrongdoing even before the person has been investigated.
Yeah, I was making a point before the network.
Yes. Please continue. Please continue. Hello, Mr. Sharif. Are you still with us? It seems we have temporarily lost Mr. Sharif. While he's waiting to join us, we would like to, of course, share our good news with you, which is to announce to you that one of our hosts, the host of one of our programs, Sylvia Happy Anand, the host of entertainment and lifestyle on Today Ghana News TV, has been nominated in the category of Entertainment Show of the Year and TV Host of the Year in Ghana Entertainment Awards 2023. So we call on our viewers and our audience and listeners in Ghana to vote for her on the short code star 447 star 714 hash. The nomination code is RR184. Vote for Sylvia Happy Anand to win Entertainment Show Host of the Year in Ghana. And also, if you are listening to us or you are watching us on any of your favorite social media platform, I would like to share a little secret with you. And that is to tell you that your favorite TV show now gives you an opportunity to market your business and whatever business you are pursuing all across the globe. If you are interested, get in touch with my producer through the numbers, the WhatsApp line that's scrolling on your screen, and talk to our producer, and you'll be given a very handsome package that will enable you to have you market your produce here live on Today Ghana News TV. If you are listening to us or if you just joined us, this is another edition of MyView show on Today Ghana News TV. We are also live on all your social media networks or as Today Ghana News. We are also live on Sakina Information Center in Tetali in Northern Ghana. We're also live on HIN FM 93.7 FM in Achin Hima in the eastern region of Ghana. I am your regular host, Albert Alan Dachie, taking you for your discussion today. Before we had the brief disruption, we were with our guest, Mr. Sheriff Dean, discussing the recent events of the theft of over if you quantify everything, that's over $1.6 billion from the house of the former Minister of State, Madam Cecilia Dapa, who has since resigned, and we are looking at the issues surrounding them. So let's take some messages from our viewers and our listeners, and then we continue. Robert Kimpi, as usual. Greetings, comrades watching from Paris, France. Robert, how are you doing? Hope you are doing well, and hope Paris is very good. Osei Superior, may she rest in perfect peace. She's very committed NDC member watching from Barcelona, Spain. I think you are referring to Dr. Sherry Aite, a founding member of the NDC who has passed on, and may his soul really rest in peace. We have another message from Mavis Boateng, and she says politicians in Ghana are richer than the country itself. Oh, really? It is very sad we find ourselves in this mess, watching on YouTube from Lisbon, Portugal. If that is the case, then all Ghanaians might as well become politicians, but that's not the way to go. The way to go is that political positions are not meant to enrich oneself. They are public service positions that should be used to serve the public and not to enrich them and not to enrich oneself. So if that is what is happening in Ghana, it's really a sad spectacle, and that's something that should not be encouraged at all. Producer, I think we missed that message. Probably you can bring it back. We have, of course, our regular viewer, Nana Tafrimu. The leadership is all over. Leadership is all over Ghana. What is he saying? What he's saying is true. Come and see the abject poverty we are in totally northern Ghana. Greetings from listeners of Sakina Information Center. Yes, Nana Tefremu, we have relatives in Ghana, and the situation is really bad. And that is why it is surprising to read and to hear that one individual can have as much as more than $1 million stashed at home. And like our guest was saying, if this is the amount the person has at home, only God knows how much the person have in other accounts and other investments. And that is really sad. Our next message comes from Robert Kimpi. Definitely, others with presidential aspirations have more than her. Well, one can make the case that if this is just a minister of state, well, I'm using the word just loosely, but if this is a minister of state and the person can have this amount of money stashed at home, one can make the case loosely as to what others have. But let's be careful. The person have to come and substantiate or tell us where the money came from. One question I wanted to put to our guest is the defense that somebody made for the minister. And the point was made that around the time that the money was stolen, that the minister was bereaved and had 2 funerals to attend to, and that probably this money was part of the money that was being used to organize funerals. Then again, the question is, do funerals cost as much as 1 million Ghana cedis, let alone talk about dollars, such that one could have that kind of money? And even if they cost that much, why was the money not in the bank? These are the teasing questions that need to be answered. Our next comment comes from NDC Diaspora Union. Producer, can we go back to NDC Diaspora Union? I think also has an interesting comment concerning the matter at hand. And while we wait for producer to bring back the message from NDC Diaspora Union, we also want to announce that you can also watch us on YouTube, on Twitch, on TikTok, on Facebook, and on all your favorite social media handles. And we still go by the handle Today Ghana News. The other issues surrounding this thing are the social dimensions, and these are the matters that we wanted to conclude this show with. It brings to question a lot of things that are happening in Ghana, to the extent that if you watch the distribution or the alleged distribution of the wealth that was taken from Honorable Cecilia Dapa, and how they were dished out. Allegations is that one of the suspects is only just now 18 years. And mind you, this money was allegedly stolen or taken about a year ago, which probably supposes that at the time that this alleged thief stole this money, the person was less than 18 years. And yet the person went on giving money in the thousands of Ghana cedis, buying houses, buying cars, and people related to her in various ways were receiving this money and asking no questions. Nobody asked, nobody had the courage or the temerity to ask how a 17-year-old girl could come by money to buy houses, to build cars. And one wonders whether that is the state of Ghana as we have it today. That in Ghana as we have it, people are no longer interested in questioning the morality or the source of people's wealth. To the extent that people have this wealth, everybody is comfortable and everybody is happy to play along and to move along with this kind of wealth that's been accumulated. It brings to question the social dynamics, the morality, the moral fiber of such a country. If it was any other place, any other jurisdiction, well, first of all, the person who has this amount of money stashed in his or her home would have to explain how, where, and why they have monies to that amount stashed at home. If it was any other jurisdiction, one would have been, and we know that in many other jurisdictions, minors are not even allowed to work. They don't have work permit to work. To the extent that a minor could have money ranging in the millions of Ghana cedis, and nobody questioned where this money came from. Actually, people related to this person are alleged to have received these monies one way or the other. And mind you, these are still allegations and these are cases in court. At the end of the day, the court decides as to who is guilty and who is not. But that does not stop us from asking the pertinent questions as to what is the state of moral decadence in Ghana? Are people just comfortable making money, irrespective of how they do it or where they get it from? Who is interested? Who is paying taxes on the monies that these people are earning? And how is the state benefiting? When you go to Ghana and you see buildings, apartments that are being rented in dollars, and you go to check the minimum daily wage in Ghana, and you see the amount, and yet people in Ghana are able to afford such things. People who work in the public and civil service are able to afford to buy luxury vehicles, and nobody questions where and how they got them. These are the other social dimensions of the story. As a matter of fact, this story has so many layers that need to be unpacked. The question is, will they be? Are people interested? Is anybody concerned about these things? And if they are not concerned, why are they not concerned? As a person, as somebody told me just a week ago, that if you have a situation where you see things going wrong and nothing is happening, that more often than not, the people who are tasked to solve the problem or prevent those problems from happening are usually neck deep in those problems themselves. And so, is it time that we start asking ourselves the serious questions? Is it time that we start asking? We all know them. We all know these things, that there are some people, and that these days, young men get out of school and their first line of job is to look for political positions. How much is the salary of a civil servant? How much is the salary of a public servant? How much is the salary of a minister of state? If one was to accumulate the salary of this person, the person in question now, over the period of time when the person was minister, would it be possible for us to be able to arrive at a figure that was allegedly stolen from the person and which the person probably never felt anything for? So the questions abound as to where this money comes from. But those are not the only questions. As I said, there are a lot of other questions to go around. And people in authority ought to be taking note. I'm told that as of today, the minister had been invited for question. But therein lies the problems. That even before she was invited for question, the person who appointed her in the acceptance letter already issued that it is his wish that she would be cleared. So if the person who is sitting in the highest office of the land has already intimated that it is his wish that this person will be cleared even before the person was accused, is it the case of a clearing agent going in, sweeping in to tidy up the issues and tidy up the loose ends so that it will create a harmonious atmosphere for this case to go by? As I said, there is no allegation or there's no crime, reported crime against the minister yet. But the questions need to be asked. We need to ask ourselves whether we have code of conduct for public office holders. As our guest said before we lost him, that few years ago, a deputy minister of state was sacked from her office. She said she resigned, but the information is that she was sacked from her office. Not for taking any money, or not because anybody had evidence that this person had taken any money, but the person was sacked because the person was recorded in a confidential telephone call where she said that she would not leave politics until she had made $1 million, I think, at the time. And that was just a wish to make $1 million. But this person lost the job. The person did not resign. The person was fired. Here is the case. Now this person, who is not a deputy minister, who is a minister of state, who holds a position of high esteem, a position that should set the standards as to how Ghanaians should behave, has this amount of money. We don't know where the money comes from, but should the person have had that amount of money? What work did the person do to get this money? Why is the money at home? Why not in a bank? Why not invested somewhere? Why is this amount of money at home? If no crime is even established, but what is the example that is being set by people holding the highest office of the land for others to follow? If ministers cannot do what they preach, as in telling Ghanaians to embrace cashless economy and to engage in cashless transactions, if they have stashed this amount of money at home, the question is, what example are they setting for others to follow? And the final point that I'll make to finally bring this show to an end is to look at the timing of this event. That the time that this amount of money got lost, that was the time when Ghana cedi was losing value against all other international currencies. Was it the case that the minister was preserving the value of her money? And at the time when the president was telling us that Sikam PDD, and that was our noise that was causing inflation in Ghana, is it the case that his ministers were the ones keeping dollars, foreign currency at home, which was creating shortage in the forex industry? thereby causing inflation. These are the vexed matters. I don't have the answers. I'm sure you don't have the answers. Those who need to provide the answers are the ones in authority. And we can only make the appeal to them to do the needful and to investigate and not clear the people even before they are started investigating them. So, wonderful viewers, wonderful audience. On this note, we have not been able to, our guests for today have not been able to rejoin us, but we are grateful for his time as always, and he's always there when we need him, always there to explain the complex matters to us, and being a student of law to guide us in our discussion so that we can have decorous discussions on the show. So we are grateful to Mr. Sharif Dean for joining us today, and we're grateful to you, our honorable and valued and cherished viewers, for making it a date to join us today on the show again. And we would bring you another exciting show, but we say thank you to our viewers on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitch, and on TikTok, and on all your favorite social media networks, and to our our listeners in Sakina Information Center in Tatali, and to also our audience in Hing FM 93.7 in Akin Himai. But before we go, we'd like to remind our people in Ghana to also vote Sylvia Happy Anna to win the host of entertainment and the host of entertainment and lifestyle on Today Ghana News, as she's been nominated in the category of entertainment show of the year. All you need to do is to vote on the short code *447 *714#. Her nomination code is RR184. Vote Sylvia Anna to win entertainment show host of the year. So until next week, when we join you again with another interesting program of the day and for the week, we urge you to take care of yourself, stay blessed, and we'll join you again soon. Have a nice week. See you next week. Bye.
Ya kana se wantia ejao ehenya betro mampam osontie so dogo binwa bem mampam osontie nani amuka nyina guna swati move swara mampam osontie move swara Mampam, also until once upon a time, animal called Mampam. Any king where them go bring him. Mampam said that king know the force. Tiger was a king. Mampam said he know the force. Elephant come. Mampam, some better than you.